This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get more details on what will be included in Days Gone Remastered. And if you have certain versions of the game, you won't be able to upgrade for $10. We get an official statement from Nintendo's president when it comes to tariffs affecting the Nintendo Switch 2's pricing. It's going to get a little interesting there. PlayStation could be having their showcase over the summer. Could they possibly be putting their hat back into the E3-esque ring, as it were? We're definitely going to discuss that. And we get some Gears of War E-Day news from the game's alleged senior level designer. All of these stories can be found here and more in episode 245 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, sit down and relax because we are going to have a great conversation today. And I will also say this, if you are traveling by bus, by car, by plane, or whatever, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, with that being said, guys, if you do want to be a part of listener feedback, you can do it two different ways, and I have to apologize. I've been giving y'all the wrong phone number this whole time. That number was disconnected months ago. So my apologies. Oh, man. Dog. Hey, man, I messed up. This is the right number right here. So my apologies. But the real and right number to call into, if you want to let your voice be heard, is 443-627-9087. And let, again, your voice literally be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the name of the show, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Also, if you're having a get-together with friends and family, be sure to check out Pour and Play Games and check out 2000's R&B Karaoke Trivia Drinking Card Game. The link is in the description. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I did want to discuss something, and I actually didn't write this down, but I do remember it was from Games Radar. Matter of fact, let me pull up the article because I found this very, very interesting that Shuhei Yoshida, he discussed Naughty Dog's online, their Last of Us, online factions. He said he actually played it and he said it was great. Now, the thing was people had got this idea that the game didn't release because Bungie told Naughty Dog, this ain't it. Nah, don't release that. That's not good enough. When actuality, the actual thing that happened was this. Now, this was from Shuhei Yoshida, and this was during his interview with, I believe it was Sacred Symbols, where he said, and I quote, "The idea for the Last of Us online came from Naughty Dog, and they really wanted to make it. But Bungie explained to the studio what it takes to make live service games, and Naughty Dog realized, oops, we can't do that. If we do it, we can't make Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet. So that was a lack of foresight." End of quote. So it seems like, again, now, the initial rumor was that, but we did hear Naughty Dog actually come out and they said that, look, this is something that they weren't going to be able to do. They couldn't do both. So it seems, coming from the horse's mouth, Shuhei Yoshida, who has been at Sony for, what was his career? 31 years, somewhere around there that he had been with Sony. He actually is saying this isn't third-party information. This is him in that interview saying that it would have taken way too much for Naughty Dog to do it, and hence they said, yeah, we're going to back off of it. We're not going to pursue that road because we want to continue to make pretty much single-player games. And anytime Shuhei Yoshida said that he thought it was great, we know what he did with God of War. With Cory Barlog and that team over there, we know that he told Cory Barlog, this isn't it. You got to do better. Scrap that or make the changes that you have to make because you are not releasing that game. And we know that when that game came out in 2018, God of War 2018, it won Game of the Year. So we know that Shuhei Yoshida, he has a really, really good track record when it comes to the releases of their games, or at least did have a great track record until he got pretty much, I don't want to call it a demotion. Well, I guess it was kind of a demotion, you know, where it was Jim Ryan who told him pretty much, if you don't get into the indie space, you might not be here, you know, because I'm pretty much taking over and yeah, this is the position we have for you. So we know that Shuhei Yoshida, he took that position and he did quite well in it for the time he was in it. And then, you know, eventually he left. But, man, when you think about it and you look back at what Jim Ryan actually did do, dang, I don't know if this brother really was good for the brand, because when you think back at what happened, all of those games that he was trying to bring to the forefront, those games as a service, good grief, what, one or maybe two of them are going to see the light of day, maybe three. The other 6 or 7 got canceled. So we could see that that guy's vision didn't look so bright, as it were. Now, granted, I don't know if that's why they told Jim, hey, I think you give your last salute and get up on out of here, man, because this direction you got us going ain't gonna have us looking crazy out here. So I don't know. We'll never know. We'll have to wait for somebody to do a biopic or some kind of I don't know, a book, a tell-all book or whatever to get that information. And we know that is quite some time away. But I just found it interesting that Shuhei Yoshida kind of cleared the air with that and, you know, let it be known that, no, Bungie wasn't pulling that kind of weight where they just got over there and they're shutting down what Naughty Dog had going on. They just simply told Naughty Dog that, look, this is what it's going to take for you to keep a game like this running. And Naughty Dog was like, oh, nah, that's not what we trying to do. So just wanted to share some light on that. But it was some other very, very interesting things inside of this interview. And I would definitely suggest that you guys check it out. Now, it might be, now this is the thing. I think that interview, it may be behind a paywall. I want to double check for y'all just real quick if I can scroll through. It was Sacred Symbols Podcast. Yeah, and it is behind a paywall. So if you want to check that out, you'll have to pay for it a little bit. But you know, it is what it is. But anyway, let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into what we all come here for. And that is no doubt the gaming news that went down. So let's go ahead and let's get things started with the story that I got from GameIndustry.biz. So I guess, yeah, let's talk numbers.
Show me the money.
So by the end of Q4, Alan Wake 2 has recouped its development and marketing costs. God, dog. It has finally happened. They finally got their money back. And they're now to the point where they have begun generating royalties and thus far has sold more than 2 million copies since it launched in October of 2023. So you figure that they made their money back October, November, December, January, maybe about a year and 3 months. It's actually not that bad. I mean, if you think about it, it released in October of 2023, October of 2024, still wasn't there, November, December, January. So yeah, about a year and 3 months, and they have sold 2 million copies. Well, I should say, again, more than 2 million copies. So they're finally getting their money back. Now, Remedy also noted that the long-term success of Alan Wake 2 was the result of the 2 DLCs that they released and the physical. That's right, God dog it. The physical release of Alan Wake 2, which goes to show yet again, physical games are important. Physical games matter, people. They really, really do. Because not everybody has the internet speed, has the bandwidth to be able to do it online. It would take somebody 14 days to download a game in certain areas of the world. And maybe I might be doing that. That's probably way too much. But I'm just saying it will take some people a lot longer than others to download that much information. We're talking about some of these games at 60 gigs with updates and all of these different things that are happening, new map packs coming up. Doggone 68 gigs for a game to download. That is a whole lot to deal with, especially if you don't have a very, very good, or at least a good internet connection. So again, it just shows that even though they are trying to usher the physical games out of the gaming space, this does show that they still do matter. So much so, again, it was part of the reason why Alan Wake 2 was able to recoup its development and marketing costs. So shout out to them. I was a little worried that they weren't going to be able to recoup this money. I was pretty nervous because they say that if you do like a game and you want to see it succeed, you want to see a sequel happen, you gotta buy the games. You gotta buy them in order to get the sequels. And if I didn't mention it, I actually got this story from GameIndustry.biz. But let's go ahead and let's move on into the next story that I actually got from Rockstar Intel. So again, we just finished talking about Alan Wake, but another game we just got an update on that Remedy is working on is Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes. So up to this point, the game has been in full production for the last 7 months. Now it's going to take this, and it's going to take roughly 200 developers between. Now this timeline is absolutely nuts. They're saying it's going to take between 1 to 2 years to get the game ready for 6 months of beta testing. Now this is also on the larger side. Now, similar to Alan Wake 2's budget, which was around 70 million euros and 50 million for the development costs and 20 million for the marketing, which Rockstar are the ones actually funding this project. So it sounds like this game could potentially, if we're talking about it's going to take 1 to 2 years, it could potentially release by the end of 2026 or early 2027. Now, we'll get another update by April 30th, 2025 for their Q1 25 wrap up. So, yeah, it looks like, again, they're going to be putting a lot of money into this. 70 million euros, 50 million of it going towards the budget. Towards the development, and 20 million going towards the marketing. You know what? How much is 70 million euros in US dollars? Let's see what that actually comes out to. How much is 70 million euros in US currency? Let's see.
145,960 euros and 91 cents.
No, how much is how much is 70 million euros in US dollars?
70 million euros equals $72,975,350.
All right, dog, that's a heck of a darn budget. So, darn near $73 million, And during their $73 million. That's a lot. That's a whole lot to pay. But Rockstar, we know that Rockstar is underneath Take-Two, which Take-Two has some of the biggest games. We're talking about the 2K franchise, GTA, Red Dead Redemption. I mean, these games sell tens of millions. So, man, they got BioShock under there as well. So, yeah, these guys, they are definitely not going to be hurting for $70 million. But I do love the fact that they are really putting those kind of resources into this game. And again, we know that Rockstar and Take-Two, you know, they're almost perfectionists to a certain degree. When they release a game, they want to make sure that it is in its best state. It's been like that with Red Dead Redemption, just go through the list. Now, I'm not going to say that they've always been 100% perfect, but when they have come out in the past, they are in pretty tip-top shape for the most part. You could say GTA 5, you could knock it for not having online when the game first released. But once they got the online, no pun intended, online, they haven't looked back since. And they've been rocking and rolling pretty heavy, you know, since they really got everything mapped out. So we can be pretty sure that with them overlooking the project, Remedy, this actually being their original IP, I think sometimes people may forget that Max Payne was their game, you know, early on. And it came out on PC back in, what was it, like 99, 98, somewhere around when The Matrix came out. I was like, good gosh, this bullet time is sick. Oh, this is amazing. That had to be, if I am not mistaken, wasn't Max Payne the first game? Didn't they invent bullet time? You know, man, shucks. I wanna be accurate as possible. Let me see. When did the original Max Payne release? It released July of 2001. So yeah, it wasn't 98 or 99. It was 2001. When it first released, which, good grief, the game was sensational when it came to the bullet time, and even the story was pretty good. It was kind of sad, you know, what happened to Max's. Well, anyway, I don't want to ruin it, you know, for anybody that may not have played it and they're actually looking forward to this remake, you know, actually coming out. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Again, I've never played Max Payne 2. I played 1 and 3. 3 was unbelievable. One of my favorite games of the 360 and PS3 generation. That game was, it was sensational. The plot twists and the characters that got done in, I didn't see happening. Man, I would love for them to even remake Max Payne 3. Shucks, remake that Joker. That thing was unreal. Anyway, I'm trying to get y'all out of here in an hour. I'm not going to keep on going on and on. But that's where we are as far as the update for Max Payne 1 and 2 remake. We'll hear something again, in April 30th, like I mentioned before, April 30th, 2025 to get another update. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from PlayStation Blog. Oh man, so I'm going to tell you something. It happened. Yeah, it happened last Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. State of Play. God dog, Days Gone Remastered was there. Now, we had heard a couple of months ago that this thing was real. And it was some show that Sony had, and we didn't see it at that show. And, you know, the rumors kind of died down. We thought, oh, okay, that was just some cannon fodder. You know, nothing too much. Nothing, you know, people got it mixed up and got their stories wrong. Well, come to find out it was all true because, again, Days Gone Remastered was there. Now, the game will officially release on April 25th for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, if you already own the game, you can get the upgrade for $10, but it is a catch. If you got the game through PlayStation Plus, man, I tell you, buddy, if you got the game through PlayStation Plus, this is them. You will not be eligible for the $10 upgrade. Oh, man. They said if you didn't go to the store and buy it physically or go to the PlayStation store and buy it digitally, you cannot upgrade the game for $10 if you got this through PlayStation Plus. You ain't getting a $10 upgrade. You have to have paid for the full game to get that option. Now, like I said, if you do want to play this remastered version of the game, you'll be able to do so, even if you got that PlayStation Plus version. But it's going to set you back $50. It's going to definitely have your wallet or your card, your debit card, credit card, being set back a whole $50. Now, do I agree with this? Man, let me tell you something, brothers. No, I really don't agree with this, but this goes to show this Sony is not trying to leave any money on the table. If you want, this is the thing. If you want this game to get a sequel, if everybody yelling and screaming, I want a Days Gone 2, I need this, I want the game, Sony bid, let them work on it. And y'all got to go out here and you got to support this Days Gone remastered. And I guess this is Sony's way of calling your bluff, because for $10, who wouldn't do an upgrade for $10? I mean, some people are so cheap, they be like, darn that. Xbox give you the update for free. Game Pass. Oh, man. So it's like some people, no matter what, they wouldn't get the $10 upgrade, and they darn sure ain't going to get this $50 if they already own the game. They're not getting the $50 version. But the thing is, before you rule it out and say I will not be getting the $50 version if I got it through PlayStation Plus, I will say this. What you do get in this remastered version, let's run down what you're going to get. They say you'll receive improved graphical fidelity, increased foliage. Now, hold on now. That graphical fidelity, I mean, Sony, I don't know if I believe y'all. I got to tell you, I saw some comparison still shots. Now, granted, maybe I need to look at the video of it, but I saw some still shots of Days Gone, the PlayStation 4 version and the PS5 version. I said, buddy, I don't know about this, Sony. I'm not too sure if you really upgraded anything here. But again, I'm just reading down what they mentioned on the PlayStation blog. But yeah, that fidelity, that graphical fidelity improvement, yeah, I kind of don't believe y'all, Sony. But let's keep going. Again, like I said, it's going to be increased foliage. You're going to have draw distance, improved, foliage draw distance, increased foliage draw distance, improved shadows and lighting quality, Tempest 3D audio, VRR support, quality mode for increased resolution, performance mode for improved frame rates. They weren't really specific on that. You'll get DualSense controller support. Now, this is what I did find interesting. You'll get the DualSense controller support where through the triggers, you'll feel your bike's engine or your wheels gripping the dirt road. Now, that's a nice little feature right there, because I absolutely love that DualSense controller, and I want these developers to use it more. Once Asobi did what they did with that controller, there was no going back for me. They showed me what the full capacity of such an amazing controller could be. So anything that, these developers do to incorporate the DualSense controller, I am all for it. And being able to feel your wheels gripping the dirt road and your bike's engine revving through the triggers. I am sold on that. Now, they also say, now granted, I'm sold because I only got to pay $10. It's a $10 upgrade for me, brothers and sisters, so I'm feeling doggone good. Now, you'll experience weather haptics that include thunder and rain. Now, you'll also get a distinct feel for your weapons, where you will feel the resistance of various weaponry when you're actually shooting. So that sounds great. Now, you're actually also going to get Horde Assault, where the hordes will be bigger. Now, I mean, golly, I've ran into a couple of hordes already, and these jokers they kind of deep as it is. So if you're talking about you're going to get even more of a horde, I am interested to see what that body count is going to look like. Very interested. They also said it's going to be accessibility features, including game speed, UI narration, controller remapping, which is dope, field of view slider, high contrast mode, and more. You're also going to get a permadeath mode and speed run mode, which is where you race against the clock, as well as an enhanced photo mode. So even if the graphics, I mean, to be fair, now granted, I'm looking at this through a $10 upgrade. I'm looking through the eyes of a $10 upgrade. Even if the graphics aren't there 100%, they do have a lot of different features here. Now, granted, the value is going to vary from person to person. Some people may feel like, yeah, this is good. This is a good enough upgrade, for $10. Now, somebody else might be like, I had the game on PlayStation Plus, but you mean to tell me in order to get these features, I got to pay $50 for these features? That ain't enough. That will be some people's reality. But again, if you want Days Gone 2 and you really enjoyed the first one, then you might want to go out there and support. But then again, I don't even want to set that narrative. I don't even want to say that, because that could be very false. I mean, who knows what Sony is going to do? I mean, even if the game does well. Because I got a story coming up a little bit later where even if a game does well, it doesn't guarantee that, it'll be made. I mean, we'll talk about it a little later. Maybe not made, but doesn't guarantee that the developers will even be able to continue working on something that is successful. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But again, who knows? Days Gone 2 isn't going to be guaranteed just because this may possibly do well. And it does seem like the early reports that have come out seems like that there are people actually supporting this Days Gone remastered. It seems to be going pretty well. I didn't get the numbers 100%. It was just a headline that I read, to be fair, that it said that it looks like the pre-orders are tracking pretty well for Days Gone Remastered, and it looks like there's a real genuine interest in the game. So we'll definitely see what happens. I mean, it's one thing we do know about Sony, Ben, at this point in time, and that is that their gas game, or the games as a service game that they were working on, that got canceled. So right now they don't have anything as it stands. It doesn't seem like they have anything that they're working on at the moment. So this could possibly free up the chance for them, if this game does do well, for them to possibly get the green light for a second game, because we do know that Days Gone did not exactly make its money back. We know that it did take a loss. We went over those numbers a couple of episodes ago. So we know that they didn't make any money on it. It did sell well, but it was being sold at a discount. So, yeah, there's that. So it still will have some hurdles to jump over. If it will possibly get a sequel, Sony could say, look, this is a quick money grab. We just need some money right now. We need some content out there, for our fan base. Let's just put it out there. Doesn't necessarily mean it will be a sequel, but hopefully it'll sell well enough to where Sony feels like, okay, it's enough buzz for the game. Let's give the fans what they want. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's move on, though, guys, to the next story that I actually got from IGN. So Capcom has been digging in their back catalog for a while. Now one of their most recent announcements was a new Okami game, actually, that they're working on. Now, some of the information that was shared in an interview with the developers are the game is being developed in the RE engine. There are also going to be some ex-Platinum game developers that will be working on the project, and even some people that worked on the original. Now, this will be a direct sequel as well, because I think the way they worded it, they just said it was Okami. I don't know if they put Okami 2 up there, but the developers did say that this is a direct sequel, or will be a direct sequel, picking up where the original left off. Now, this was confirmed by a Capcom producer. His name is Yoshiki Hirabayashi. God, dog, y'all know me. I ain't getting no better at these names. His name is spelled Y-O-S-H. Yosh. I-A-K-I. Yoshiakai. Man, I'm not doing this today. Shout out to this good brother, though, this producer over at Capcom. His last name is Hirabayashi. It's spelled Hirabayashi. Hirabashi. And the other guy's name is Hideki Kamiya. They're working on this, and this information came from them that it is a direct sequel. And the last, I would say the last and most important thing is the game is in very early development. So don't expect anything anytime soon when it comes to this game. Okami, the thing about Okami is I never actually played the original. It always looked very beautiful to me. It was more of like a watercolored type of art style. It looked really, really nice. But for some reason, I never picked it up. I was interested in getting a remastered version for it. I think it came out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 a couple of years ago. I was like, yeah, it looks pretty good. I might want to pick it up. I never did. It was on sale a couple of times. I think it was Okami HD. I don't think it was a remaster. I think it was an HD version. And I was like, I'm going to get to it. Never did. But with this actually being on the horizon, I'm not saying I'm going to pick this up, but it does pique my interest. I might get the original and see what it's hitting for eventually. I don't want to sit up here and lie and act like I'm going to do it and probably won't. But we'll see what happens with this. But the interesting thing about it is, we know that RE engine is something amazing with some of their games like Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 2. I mean, if you go through the catalog, even Devil May Cry, what was it? Devil May Cry 5? I can't quite remember. It's the last one that came out. I played that. That game was fantastic. And that was my first full experience of a Devil May Cry game. I hadn't played any of the PlayStation 2 Devil May Cries. I mean, some demos, yeah, when you would actually hit them in the air and start juggling them with the pistols in the air. Oh, that was fire. That was dope, but I never actually played a full version of the game until DMC 5. Well, no, I did play DMC, but that was by Ninja Theory, which that game was also really well done. So that would have been my first DMC introduction, which, good grief, they did their thing on that game. Game was absolutely sensational. That and DMC 5, which was made by Capcom. So with that, the visuals and all of that stuff, the RE engine is beautiful. It's fantastic. Them having ex-Platinum game developers working on this game, that gameplay is gonna be smooth, real smooth. And having some developers that actually worked on the original pitching in as well. Yeah, this is really shaping up to be possibly a really, really good game, especially for people that are fans of Okami to begin with. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Again, don't expect anything for a while. Still in early development. We'll follow this and, see what happens, as the days, weeks, and months go by. But let's go ahead, though, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Comic Book. Now, we all know, oh boy, oh man. Yeah, we all know that these tariffs, man, good grief, these tariffs, man, these things, man, tariffs are something that affects all of us. And with Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon, I mean, how much could the tariffs affect the pricing of the Switch? Well, Nintendo president Mr. Shuntaro Furukawa had this to say about the matter. He said, and I quote, Nintendo Switch is not only manufactured in China, but in places such as Vietnam and Cambodia as well. We are predicting various geopolitical risks and establishing ways to respond. So, oh yeah, and that was the end of the quote. So even though Mr. Furukawa, to be fair, he didn't say anything very specific, but it looks like, when he worded it the way that he did, he will try to find various ways, it seems like, to keep the costs down instead of passing the financial burden on to their customer base. We'll just have to wait and see, because just the fact that he said that the Switch isn't only manufactured in China, he talked about Cambodia and Vietnam, as well. So they have the luxury, I would say, of having, manufacturing taking place in other places, in the world. So because of that, hopefully they'll be able to keep the price pretty low. It's been a constant thing where these prices are fluctuating up and down. Somebody said that they think it's going to be priced at $350. I'm like, shucks, that would be dope. I mean, the original was $300. You mean to tell me an upgraded Switch 2, it would be $350? I would take that, especially since we had heard reports that it could be $500. Then it was $450. And the $500 was supposed to be a bundle that was supposed to come with Mario Kart. What are they on? Mario Kart 8 right now? So I guess it'd be Mario Kart 9 or 10, whichever one. I don't keep up with Mario Kart too tough. But whatever the latest Mario Kart is going to be, that would be a pack in for $500. So it seems like, Mr. Furukawa, he definitely understands that, the tariffs could be a real problem. And they look like they're going to do everything they can to try to, make sure that these possible increased costs because of tariffs won't affect the Switch 2 too badly, especially with the things that are going on in the world, people being laid off left and right, people losing their jobs, people, just so many people, out there, just having to decide, do I get gas this week or do I eat? It's a really, really tough time. So the Switch 2 is going to be releasing at a horrible time. I mean, even if it's during the holidays, it could be the summer, it could be the fall. This is just not a good year in general for a lot of people, when it comes to their finances and gaming. We know that this is a luxury to actually be able to have this hobby. Gaming is not cheap. It's a lot more accessible than it used to be. I mean, you got Days Gone for free on PlayStation Plus, but you can't get that $10 upgrade. And I just say that again to say gaming is so much cheaper to get into. And I hate to be the old man in the room, back in my day, but when I was younger, all I could get was maybe 1 or 2 games. And I might have been able to get, I don't know, man, maybe 1 or 2 games during the year. Now, Christmas was a totally different beast. You know, I would be able to get a couple of games at Christmas, but those games mostly had to last me for the rest of the year. So you're talking about maybe between 2 and 3 a year, you know, and I didn't even come from a family that my mom and dad were doing bad. No, they were doing pretty good. You know, I would never sit up here and lie and say I had the hardest childhood. I didn't. Maybe early on we might have been early on not doing so well, but I'm talking about when I was like 9 or 10 years old, having the funny money, you know, the money that was brown, you know, you had money that was red, you know, some of it I think was blue, you know, and I'm sure that if y'all aren't aware I'm talking about food stamps before they had EBT cards. You used to have to go to the store with food stamps. I had food stamps as a kid. I think I had like a bell on the front of the brown dollar bill or whatever. I didn't even know, just on a side note, I didn't even know that it wasn't real money until some of my friends was like, what kind of dollar is that? My dollar's green. Well, why is your dollar brown? And why is that one red? I'm like, man, shucks, my parents sent me to the store. This is what they gave me. They told me, man, that's poor money. Those jokers told me that is poor money. I said, what you mean? This is poor money. Joker said, y'all on food stamps. I said, oh, shucks. I had no idea. I didn't know we was poor, man. I didn't know. But to be fair, shout out to my mother and father. May they rest in peace. They actually, later on, not even so much later on, but they got on their feet. They got off of the assistance. I remember sitting in the line where they had the big block of cheese. I didn't know, man. I'm gonna tell you, as a kid, I think in life, perception is everything. Because at Christmas time, I never had a bad Christmas. I might have had like 1 or 2 bad Christmases, you know, out of 18. I mean, my parents stopped giving me gifts after 18. It was like, all right, that's enough. You know, we gave you a good 18-year run. You know, that's it. You know, but I didn't know we were in a bad way. You know, we would get there, we would get this powdered milk that came in a blue and white box, and you had to actually add water to it. I know I'm not telling y'all anything that y'all don't know if y'all are in my age range, you know, and, you know, your parents might have been on hard times for a little while. But, yeah, that didn't last my whole life. Like I said, man, by the time I was about 11 or 12, we had moved out of Baltimore City into Baltimore County. We used to live on the west side of Baltimore between Appleton and Edmondson Avenue. If y'all are familiar with that, if y'all are from here, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And, you know, it was good times, though. It was real good times. I didn't see a lot. I saw a couple of things, but it is what it is, you know. But I'm just saying that, yeah, I wasn't even very bad off, you know, after about 11 or 12 years old. And my parents were only getting me 2 or 3 games a year. That was about it. You know, my grandmother might have gave me 1 or 2. My aunt might have gave me 1 or 2, you know. So, you know, between the 3 of them, well, I should say the 4 of them, I would get like, you know, between 2 and 3 a year. But we know that now it's not like that. You got Xbox Game Pass and you got PlayStation Plus that's giving the games away for free. So, yeah, it's very, very accessible now. It's not very expensive or as expensive as it used to be. But the fact of the matter is that, again, gaming is a luxury. So if you have a Switch 2, even at $350, and you don't have the means to do so, you're not going to buy it. You're going to get food first. You're going to pay your bills first. You know, so, and I think that Furukawa, he's very, very much so aware of that. And he knows that, look, if we're going to sell these, we got to price it accordingly. So April 2nd is coming up very, very soon. We're already past the middle of February. We won't have too much longer to wait. But we will definitely see what happens with Nintendo and these tariffs and what that's going to do to the pricing of the Switch 2. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Comic Book as well. So let's get into some PlayStation rumors.
Rumor has it it's something that only I know.
So Jeff Grubb, man, shout out to Jeff Grubb, man. This dude is he's not on point all the time, but this dude is pretty accurate. Now, Jeff Grubb was discussing the State of Play event on an episode of Game Mess Decides, where he discussed a little inside baseball when it comes to PlayStation's next show, where he said, and I quote, internally, it sounds like they're debating flopping between maybe making something this summer a full showcase versus another State of Play. But they are considering a showcase. And if they have a showcase, that means they'll have a lot of stuff to talk about. And at that point, you would definitely expect to see Wolverine and a lot of other games that could come out next year. End of quote. So we know that during that State of Play event, which I gave a 7.5, I thought it was okay. Nothing special, nothing unbelievable shown. Thought it was a solid 7.5. I did a live reaction to it last week. You can check that episode out if you feel up to it. But with that being said, we know that they had hinted at them having a show in the spring, where they would be talking about or digging a little deeper into Borderlands 4. So we know that the show is coming up. Well, I don't want to call it a show. We know that the State of Play is coming up. But Jeff Grubb, who's really accurate, not 100%, but this guy he's like I said, he's pretty darn good. You have him out there saying that they're kind of flip-flopping between the ideas of actually doing a full showcase over the summer. So, maybe pushing that spring show back some to just show all of the big games that they have coming up. Or they could stick with the script and do another State of Play. I'm going to tell you something. I'm tired of State of Plays. That State of Play was such a letdown. It really was, because I was looking forward to Wolverine, seeing some gameplay. I was looking forward to possibly seeing something that had to do with Venom or Spider-Man, that rumored situation that was supposed to be happening. I thought that we would have saw Ghosts of Yotai up there. Wasn't really tripping on Death Stranding because they're going to be at South by Southwest showing that off, I think, next month. Yeah, sometime next month. So that was cool. But I just wanted to see more. I understand they showed off the game by Housemarque that seems like it's maybe not a sequel to Returnal, but something along those lines. Which I also heard that game is supposed to be a little easier than Returnal, where they're going to have you, if you do die, you're going to start with all of your items, instead of having all your items drop once you get killed, which would be dope. I would love that. That's why I haven't played Returnal. I told y'all I play games for fun, not difficulty, god dog it. Anything that's going to be too difficult, anything that's going to have me banging my dog on hand into my pillow in frustration, like, oh, I don't need that, man. I don't need that kind of situation in my life right now. Not at all. I'm 46 years old. I don't need the frustration. Y'all know what I'm doing. If the game has levels as far as normal, hard, extra hard, easy, very easy, man, y'all know I'm going to easy. Man, shoot, I might go to very easy depending on what it is. Shucks, I want to breeze through the game. I ain't trying to be up there restarting the level, restart. Man, you are out of your mind. I'm trying to have some fun and feel like I'm great at the game, even when I'm not. I'm trying to feel like, man, let the game fool me and let me believe, man, I am the greatest at this game. Look at how I'm doing this. I I am absolutely incredible. Even though I know in my mind I got it on very easy, it don't matter because perception is everything. But listen, man, let me get serious for a minute. I am serious about that easy mode, though. I'm dead serious about that. But the thing is that, let me get back on track. I would love for them to do this because we haven't had a showcase from Sony in like 50 years. These jokers, I'm telling you, it is already setting in. Sony is getting real comfortable right now. Jokers know Microsoft ain't fighting with them. They trying to give them everything. Hey, y'all take this. Y'all take that. Hey, how about this? They like, yeah, we're going to take all them joints. Oh, you want something from us? Man, y'all better get out of here. We ain't giving y'all nothing, man. You better go and sit on down somewhere. We'll take all of your Horizons. We'll take, all of your other games, Call of Duty. Yeah, we'll take it all, but we ain't giving you nothing. Nothing at all. And we see that Sony is sitting back, relaxing. I understand that state of play just happened, and it was cool, 7.5 worthy. But I guarantee you, they got games coming from Xbox. They got games coming from third party as well. What is the rush? And this is what we don't want. For people that wanted to see Xbox go away, for people that think that Xbox was a waste of time and they didn't bring anything to the table, wait and see what happens in the not too near future. When you see Sony sitting back, not looking hungry, not looking like it's any urgency, because they know they got everything on lockdown. You can say Nintendo is out there, they're a threat. You can say PC is out there, they're a threat. First off, PC ain't got no darn games, man. PC ain't got a darn exclusive to make anybody on console go over there and say, man, I got to get me a RTX 4090 or 5080 or whatever the case may be. Ain't nobody rushing over to PC for any exclusives. The exclusive on PC is performance and graphics. That's it. Y'all ain't got no God of Wars. Y'all ain't got no Gears of Wars. Y'all ain't got no doggone Halos or anything like that. I mean, yeah, you got them on your platform. But y'all, man, Valve ain't make them joints. Y'all ain't got none of those. So, yeah, PC is like a waste to me. Unless you want the best performance and all that stuff. Yeah, yada, 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 man. Yeah, whatever. Man, whatever. It's no real, to me, it's no real benefit to having a PC. Yeah, you can say you can get online for free and all of this stuff. I get it. I'm a console gamer, man. It's all I want to play on. Simplicity. That's it. I don't want to deal with the drivers and all of that stuff. You can keep all of that mess. Keep it to yourself. Y'all ain't got no games, by the way, anyway. Again, y'all ain't got no games that really make me want to go out there and get your platform. You ain't got none. So, I mean, Sony, I hope they have this show. I hope it's a showcase this summer. I don't think it's going to happen. But again, I told y'all before, I didn't think that state of play was going to happen. I was like, usually when I think it's not going to happen, it does happen. And I don't think they're going to have a showcase because what is the urgency? What are they tripping on? They don't really have anything to worry about. They're in the driver's seat. They ain't tripping on that, man. Microsoft, oh, man, get out of here. Xbox, man, they work for us. They work for us. They putting their games on our console. What are we tripping for? I'm telling you, this is not where you want Sony to be. It's not. We got a glimpse of it during the PS3 era, and I'm telling you, this generation is only, that's a little over halfway done. I think we're going to get consoles, new ones by 2027, somewhere around there, maybe 2028, but so we're about maybe halfway through, maybe slightly more than halfway through. Watch the pace. Watch PlayStation's pace when they start to slow down. I don't think I'm wrong. I think that how could you not get comfortable? How could you not? we'll see, man. Some people believe that they're still going to act like they're hungry. They're still going to be hungry, and they're going to continue to get these deals and things of that nature. They're not going to have to try and get anything. They are going to be it. The Switch 2 ain't going to be nearly powerful enough to run current generation games. They might get kind of close, but they ain't going to be able to do what the PlayStation 5 is able to do. So they're kind of going to almost have like artificially, a monopoly to a certain degree. So I don't know. I don't think the showcase happens, but we'll see, man. We will see. Just like some people wanted. I ain't going to go there. I ain't going to go there, man. I was about to say something about anyway, we'll go ahead and move on, man. Let's get into the next story that I actually got from 9meters.com. So speaking of PlayStation, it's being reported that the company will be phasing out PS4 exclusive game development by 2025. God darn. Finally. Tired of this. So yeah, they're going to have it pretty much be done by this year, shifting their resources to PS5 production and software. So this full transition is, like I said, underway right now. So any PlayStation 4 owners out there, just know support for that console won't be the same. Meaning more and more games, especially exclusives, won't be available on that platform. I am all for it. This generation is going on 5 years in, and they're still showing support for last generation. I can't stand it. I think 2 years tops, you should be showing support to the last generation console, and you should be moving forward. Put all your resources on the newer generation. Make your games sing. Make them look amazing, even though they have been. I will admit, they've been looking quite well, since the PlayStation 5 has released, but they're getting a little too long in the tooth. 5 years later, you still got the last generation console. That's why nobody is I'm not going to say anybody. I think they sold like 75 million PlayStation 5. So let me calm the heck down, but my thing is that if you would stop the support of the last generation consoles, you would sell a lot more. It would be more people on your console generation, this generation than last generation. But you keep on supporting old hardware.
But wait, it gets worse.
Man, god darn. You keep messing around and having this old hardware stick around when people are ready to move on to the PS5. 75 million. People are ready to move on and have you working on that console exclusively. So 2025, that's the deadline this year. This is great news. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I got from VGC. So, this story right here. Oh, man. So, how can I start this? I think we can all agree that Marvel Rivals it's been a pretty big success for NetEase, especially with what's his name, Matt Piscatella. He actually reported that the game was among the top 5 games in the U.S. weekly active users across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. Now he said, and I quote, "It has been a massive hit and one of the few games that has been able to break through the live service wall." Man, we know Sony has been struggling outside of their one game with this. But he says, let me continue with what Piscatella said. He said, I don't know, folks. I just don't know. End of quote. Now, to put this game's success into context, last month the game saw 644,269 players concurrently, ranking higher. This game again had over 644,000 players concurrently playing on it, ranking higher than Helldivers 2, GTA 5, Apex, GTA 5, god darn, Apex, and Path of Exile. And despite all that, people are being laid off. People are being laid off with this game being as successful as it has been.
Move this man!
It's a success. Top 5. One of the few games, live service games, to break through, and they are laying people off. Now, the company said this, and I quote, "We recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game." End of quote. Now they continue, and I quote, "This resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals." End of quote. Now, one of the people that were laid off, and this blew my wig back, and I got a bald head. One of the people that were laid off was the game's director, the director of the game, Thaddeus Sazzer. He was actually let go along with a unannounced number of employees that have been let go as well. Here it is. This seems to be the future. These gas games, everybody wants a bite. Everybody wants a piece. Everybody wants to try to get in there and get with this gas game model because it generates a lot of money. And here it is. These guys, what Marvel Rivals released, 2 or 3 months ago, somewhere around there. Let's see. When did Marvel Rivals release?
According to Wikipedia, Marvel Rivals, Manwei Zheng Feng, is a 2024 third-person hero shooter video game developed and published by NetEase Games in collaboration with Marvel Games. The game was released for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X on December 6, 2024.
So it just released just a little over 2 months ago. A little over 2 months ago, and they are already laying people off, and the game has been successful. I mean, Concord didn't even get remotely close to some 600,000. 644,269 concurrent players. And it's been out just over 2 months. So I'm saying to myself, what is it that these guys really want? When is it enough? When is it enough where you can say, okay, the game is successful. We're bringing in enough money. Let's keep everybody where they are so that they can continue to feed this beast, because we already heard, from Naughty Dog and Bungie telling them that this is what it's going to take in order to keep this game moving. And Naughty Dog was like, well, shucks, we can't get back to what we really do. If we go down this path, let's fall back. Instead, NetEase, they're like, yeah, we're going to get rid of the director of the game. And, various other people that have worked on it, even though it's successful. So what is the end goal at the end of the day? I understand the business is business. I think that somewhere in the article, I didn't write it down, but I think they were trying to, I think NetEase, and don't quote me on this, I think NetEase is moving out of the U.S. and maybe going somewhere else. Maybe that's why the team in Seattle was shut down. Maybe that's why they're restructuring or, whatever the case may be. But if they're moving out of the country, that could very well mean that and this is no offense to anybody, but they could be trying to get cheaper labor, for the game. So the game has been out 2 months. It's shown a lot of success, and they're all ready to just get rid of the team that helped them get there. Man, not even a quarter later, not even 3 months, they've already got rid of some of the team. So even if these things are successful, and that's what I meant by Days Gone too. Even if Days Gone Remastered does the numbers that Sony wants it to do, doesn't mean you're going to get a sequel. It doesn't mean it's going to happen just because they got the money and it makes the books look really, really good. I can say, yeah, that's cool, but nah, I'm still not doing it, because at the end of the day, and it's not a crime. These companies are in this thing to make money, and I 100% understand, and I get that, but And I understand there's no loyalty either. A lot of companies don't have loyalty to their employees. It's not personal, but I don't know, man. Sometimes I be feeling like it could be personal, though. If you do all of that work and all of a sudden now the game is a success and then you're like, all right, let's get rid of them. We're good. It's like, God, dog, man. And I understand at the end of the day, the companies that they're using you, but you can't put it that way, like they're using me, because they are paying you. At the end of the day, you're getting paid for a service, and you're getting paid, and you're getting paid what you think you deserve. Well, it's not about what you deserve. It's about, what you negotiate for, really. But if you feel like you've been properly paid, then that is it's not a robbery. A fair trade isn't a robbery. So, it's just like, man, though, how much is enough? Just seems like it's a lot of greed, but, it's greed, but that's what we live in. We live in a capitalist society. So this isn't anything new. This isn't me, trying to come down on NetEase. I'm just confused. Really, that's what it really comes down to. I'm just confused. Like, man, if something is successful and you're having early success, doing better than GTA 5, you were doing better than GTA 5 online. And you're like, yeah, you gotta let some of y'all go. Take it easy. But I'm not going to harp on this too long. It's just a shame, but we'll see what happens with this, unless they see something coming down the pipe that, I just don't see. I think it's going to continue to be successful, and they're going to continue to make a lot of money off of it. And, as they should. I'll never be against a good product, even a great product, ever, getting what it deserves. And if it's a great game and it's a lot of fun and it's attracting a big player base, then it should be compensated for being a fun game, But just think it's, kind of messed up that they just pretty much put, some of the guys out there in the cold after 2 months, of being up and running. But hey, man, life can be cold at times. It's just a hand some people unfortunately are dealt. So, it is what it is. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the final story that we have this week. And I got this one from Game Ranks. So I'll say this, man. I think any Gears fan would be very excited about Gears of War E-Day. And with this new bit of news, if it's true, let's get into some rumors. So a Twitter user named SassX Shadows, he spells his name SassXSH with the number 4 DOWZ. Now he has a LinkedIn profile And on his LinkedIn profile, he's a developer at the Coalition. Now, he claims that he's been working on as a senior level designer for Gears of War E-Day since 2020. That's what he's claiming. He's been on this project since 2020. Now, their profile also indicates that they have been working at the Coalition for 13 years. So if this is true, the Coalition started working on this as soon as Gears 5 ended, pretty much. Now, as far as a release date goes, SAS X Shadows believes E-Day could release between this year and 2026. So that's good news either way. So, okay, they've been working on this for 5 years, pretty much right after Gears 5 wrapped in 2019. 2020, I believe that's when they came out with Hive Busters. Oh my gosh. Hive Busters was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I played that game. I think I might have liked that game more than Gears of War 5. And it was a much shorter experience, but doggone, that game was dope. So, 2019, Gears 5, 2020, Hive Busters, and they're like, man, we're working on Gears of War E-Day. So that means bare minimum this summer at Xbox's showcase, it looks like it could be a very, very good chance. If this rumor is true, because it is a rumor that this guy is a developer, and it looks like they actually proved that he does work at the Coalition. So if they've been working on this game that long, bare minimum, we will probably see gameplay over the summer at Xbox's showcase, which would be a moment. Because at the time, the Coalition, if I'm not mistaken, they were working on the Matrix Awakening demo. They did fantastic work on that. And, like I said, Hive Busters, that was a fantastic game. And, E-Day looks like it could be really, really awesome. So we'll probably see something over the summer. Nothing is guaranteed. Again, the developer, he did say it could come out this year and it could actually release, in 2026 as well. So just depends on, how far along they are. But, hopefully, man, I would love to see E-Day over the summer. That would already bump the show up to at least a 3 out of 10, especially if it is great gameplay and it looks amazing. That Unreal Engine 5 is Unreal Engine 5 out there. Man, it could be incredible. So if that was shown off, starting off with a 3 out of 10. Just off of that alone for me, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which actually brings us into our final, and I do mean final, section of the podcast where I ask you guys the question of the week. And I know you saw it already, but let's get into it officially. So, question is, have your gaming habits changed? I look around and I see what's happening in the games industry. A lot of people getting laid off. We just talked about Marvel Rivals. We know the gas games at an all-time high. Everybody wants to get in. Seems like single-player experiences, not dying per se, definitely not, but seem like they're a little on the decline. Seems like sports games are always somewhere in the middle, always, having an audience, as it were. So I'm just interested in, you personally. Have your gaming habits changed over the years? Did you find yourself at one point in time only playing single player? Then you were like, man, I'm gonna jump into these, online games. I'm gonna play those. Or have you, did you start off with the sports games and then eventually find yourself kind of going over to the single player experiences? I would just, be curious to know, because even in certain sports games, they actually did have storylines, that did happen. And, going through the storyline in a sports title, like let's say Fight Night, Fight Night Champion, did that story actually kind of move you? Like, man, I wonder what these single player games that are strictly about a story, I wonder what that would actually be like. So I'm just curious to know, about that. Me, my gaming habits have not changed much at all. I'm still all about that single player experience. I'm still only about that story. Gameplay. I mean, yeah, here and there, I'll play a sports title, but I'm about 90%. Man, I might say about 90%, 90 to 95%. I'm all about that single player experience. I'm not trying to go online. I'm not really playing sports titles. Only sports game I will play is a boxing sports game. And Undisputed, like I told y'all, I enjoyed Undisputed so much. I haven't been back to it only because I'm trying to finish up Zelda and I'm trying to finish up Days Gone. But anything that's a boxing game, and if it's good, man, that is my sports game of choice. I'm talking about going back to boxing on Atari when the character was black and the other one was literally white, black and white. Going at each other with the overhead view with the jab going on. Yeah, I go back to those days when the boxer looked like he was a kind of distorted looking E on the screen. Yeah, that's my era right there. I've been at it for that long, so that's pretty much me though. But 95%, I'm still on that single player though. But again, out of curiosity, have your gaming habits changed? If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-627-9087 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Keon Mitchell, and I want to thank you guys again for being here. Thank y'all. So with that being said, before we tie this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.
Preparing to transfer now. This is your last chance to bail, June.
Do it.